Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Sysco LABS Tutorials. I'm Dileka from Sysco Delivery team. Today we'll be learning about Golang. Golang, commonly renowned as Go, is being trending and buzzing all around the world for its usage in building efficient and scalable services. So it's going to be soon available in Sysco Labs for us to develop services. So we'll today learn how to handle this bad boy and build services to cater our millions of customers. So I think you might not have installed Golang. You can visit the page golang.org/doc/install and see there is a documentation there on how to install Golang in your Linux or in any operating system. You can download it, and in Linux you need to export path variable in your home directory, and just visit this page, and you can do it on your own. That will be very easy, and if all things go well, you can check whether it's perfectly installed with the command go version on your terminal. So if you get a response like this, I think all is done well. So we'll move to hands-on section straight away. You can code in Golang with many IDEs. I'm a big fan of IntelliJ, so I've downloaded Golang for the preferred version from IntelliJ. So I've created a project there. So we'll see how these things go in our tutorial. So I plan to do like the basic fundamentals of Golang. We'll be learning on how to write functions, and then the data types, and then we'll learn about the structs in Golang, and then we'll write a simple web server by combining all the knowledge that we gained throughout the tutorial. So it will be fun, guys, so stick with me. We'll learn the fundamentals of Golang. As the first section of my tutorial, we'll write a Hello Sysco Labs program. We have been writing Hello World programs forever, but let's write a Hello Sysco Labs program. So the first thing you need to do is create a file. Go source code contain the .go extension. So all you need to do is create a file. Let's name it Hello Sysco Labs. So you need to give the extension .go. So that's how Go identifies that it's a Go source code. And the first thing you need to do inside your code is to write the package name. So we'll be doing only one package programs in this tutorial. So we should name our package as main. Package main, and then we can import the standard libraries that we need for the program. So a very common package that you would see in almost all the Go programs is the format package, which is abbreviated as FMT, and then we need to write the function. So just like in Java that you have public static void main functions, we have the func main in Golang. Func main. So let's do a console print. Hello Sysco Labs. So let me go through the code that we've written up to now. So package main tells the Go compiler that this is the entry point of our application. So whenever you write an application, the entry point of your application should be named as package main, and then the first method to run inside the Go application should always be main method. Just like in Java, where you have a public static void main, maybe not in JavaScript, you might have not encountered such a method, but in Golang it's func main. So Go compiler identifies this to be running first. So let me tell you on how to compile the source code. So there's a command like go build to compile our source code. Let's say go build hello Sysco Labs. So what this command does is it compiles the Go source code into one executable, and it creates an executable file. The way to run it is, we all know how to run the executable. Congratulations guys, you have written the first Golang application, hello Sysco Labs. So we'll move to a bit advanced topic. Next, we'll write a custom function using Golang, which will be very helpful when you travel through the world of Golang. Let's create a file and let's name it as custom functions .go. So as we did earlier, we need to name our package to be main, and then we need to import the libraries that we need to. So in this application, I am hoping to import multiple standard libraries, multiple packages from the standard library. So the way to do it guys is using parentheses, and we need to import what we want. We would import the format package, and then you need to use semicolons and tell the other package that you need to, that is math. You always need to use quotes, double quotes. So descending from a Node.js background, we've been used to like single quotes with ESLint and all, but here we are enforced to use double quotes all the time. So guys, let's write our first custom function, like let's say funcfu, as we've been seeing it a lot of times in tutorials. So let's print a statement here. We always use the format library, print ln, and then say, let's say the square root. So I'll be needing you to know some of the math. Square root of 4 is, we can use the math package that we've imported. Say math dot square root, let's pass 4. So this method guys would not run by default. We need to call this inside the func main that we all know. Func main, let's write our main method, func main, and let's call our method inside the main method. So we've imported what we needed to, and we've written our custom function, and inside the main method we've called our custom function. So there is another command that we can build and run at the same time guys. So it's like it goes as go run custom functions. So what this command does is it'll compile the source code and run the executable for us in just one command. Ta-da! So it's like we've got the result that we needed. The square root of 4 is 2 if you never knew it, right? Right, guys, let's move forward, and let's add the data types into our custom functions. So data types play a big part in Golang, as most of the other languages do. So let's try to learn a bit of data types in Golang. We'll create a file and name it as data types. Datatypes.go. As always, so just like the tradition, we need to import our main. We need to call package main, and then let's import the libraries that we needed to. I always need this format package, and then let's write a function to add two numbers. Given two numbers as the params, let's say this method returns, I want this method to return the summation. So let's say like func add, and then here comes the interesting part. Just like in Java, we need to define the type at the compile time. So this is a strong static type language, not like JavaScript where it is dynamic. This is much similar to Java that we all have known. So you need to define the type at the compile time. So we'll say but there's a small difference when you compare this with Java. Java requires you to define the param type before the param name, but here we use it the other way. So we need to name our parameter first. Let's say it's number 1, and then we need to define the type. We need to denote the type of the param. Let's say it is float 64, and then the other number is let's name it as number 2, and let's say it is also a float 64, guys. And then we need to define the return type of this function. So the summation always returns a float 64. So let's say it returns float 64, and then we'll write the method body. Say return x plus y, return number 1 plus number 2. I've been sleeping. Right. So let's call this method in a main method. That is the method that runs first, func main, and then let's create two variables for passing in order to pass into this function. So here we are creating variables for the first time, guys. So the way to do is like in JavaScript earlier on, we need to use the var keyword, var number 1. So you need to denote the type, which will be a float 64, equal, we'll say 10.5. And the other cool thing about Go is, guys, that we need not use the semicolons, the parentheses as much as in the other languages. So we'll get to the business straight away. Var number 2 floats, it is always, it's all float 64, and then say let's say 20.5. I need to var number 1, and let's call our add method inside the body of the main function. Fmd println the addition of the two numbers, number 1. This is how you can use commas inside the println method, and number 2 is, let's call our method inside the main method, add, and let's pass our numbers. Number 1, comma, number 2. So let's run this boy. We can use the command that we learned earlier on. Go run datatypes.go. If it all goes well, we should see 31 as the response, right? Okay, we've got 31. So let me say something interesting about Go. So in any case that let's say we have created a variable like Go var number 3 float 64, just in any case, let's say 12. So the number 3 has not been used after its initialization, right? So in any other language like Java or JavaScript, we wouldn't have any problem in executing our file. But in Golang, the Go does not let you go with unused variables, right? So let me prove it. So if we run this file again, so the only difference I did was that I created a new variable which is just initialized but not yet used inside the code, just like in a print statement. So what this does is, guys, is pretty amazing. Go does not let you compile this file because it says number 3 declared and not used. It is very strict with the usage of variable. So just remember in your code that if you are building some logic inside your file, just remember that if any variable has not been used, just remember that you need to comment this out, right? Right. And the other thing is, guys, the Go community does not write code like this. For example, this add method, it takes two float 64 params and it returns a float 64. And we have used var keyword to create variables, but the Go community uses lots of shorthands. Let me tell you some of those. So let's write our func add method again. Let's name it as func add method simplified. We will be using shorthands, func add simplified. So as we are passing two float 64 params, the same type, we can do something special like this. We can name our variables number 1, comma number 2, and then we can use only float 64 one time. So Go knows that both the parameters are of the same type and it's float 64, but yet you need to define the return type, and then you can say return number 1 plus number 2, and then we can use some of the shorthands inside our main method to create variables. So I'll comment these lines. I'll say if I need to create two variables inside a function body, I could use something like this. Number 1, I could just name the parameters number 1, comma number 2, and I use colon, and then I could see 10.5 comma 20.5. So the Go compiler assigns these float 64 values to both these variables, and it sets the type as well. So we don't have to do much of the work. So let's run it again. Ta-da, it gives us the same response. So let's go further and let's try to learn a new concept, maybe a new keyword, the structs. I'll create a file as usual. So guys, imagine a situation where you will be asked to create simulate a program like a cricket ground. There are players, there are cricketers, the commentators, the spectators. So you need to structure your code accordingly. So we have all been using the classes for this in languages like Java and JavaScript, but the Golang answer for classes is the structs. So let's see how we can create a struct of a cricketer and then instantiate objects of that and work it out in our code. So let's go and create structs. So as usual, we need to name our package, which is main as always, package, and then we need to import the libraries that we need to. As always, our friend is there, format, and then this is how you define a struct. Don't get overwhelmed, guys. It is the same word that we know as class in other languages. Struct is basically a class. So let's name our struct. Type, this is how you do it. Type, our struct is a player. Let's say cricketer. Type cricketer. Type cricketer struct, and then we need to name the attributes. So think of some of the attributes of a cricketer, like there is a name, which is a string. So we need to define the type of the attribute, and there is like height, weight, and there is a strike rate for the cricketer if it's a batsman, strike rate, which all should be float 64, isn't it? Right. And then we can have like the age, which is an int 16. Yeah, int 16. Right. So let's try to create an object of a cricketer. We'll see, we need to use our main method as always, func main, and then this is how you create an object of a struct that you have defined. So let's name our variable as cricketer1, cricketer1, use the shorthand, and then we need to call our struct cricketer, and then we need to pass our values, guys. So tell me a name of your favorite cricketer. So let's say it's Sangakkara, not my favorite, but I'm sure that most of you girls like him. Sangakkara, and then we'll pass the values for him. Say later, what's his height? His height like 175 centimeters, and then we'll say the weight is around, I think, 75, guys, 75, and then say the strike rate that we all need, that matters the most, is around like 80, no? 80, and his age, guess his age, it's like around 40. Okay, so let's try to print Sangakkara on the console. Print ln, let's say cricketer 1. Right, let's see how this goes, guys. As always, we need to use that special magic command, go run structs.go. Ta-da! We have Sangakkara, who has a height of 175 centimeters with the weight of 75 kilograms, and who is striking the ball at 80, even he's 40 years old. So let's go to a very important section, guys. You have might not have used pointers if you have been used to Go, if you have been used to like Java or JavaScript, because we are not required to, but in Golang we need to. this might be reason where all this performance comes in place. Like we need to know how we manage our memory with pointers. So that's a very good topic to get under our belt. We'll create a file and then we'll name it as pointers.go as always, and then we'll import our packages. We need to name it as main. It's very simple, guys, right? I think you've been used to it. Like right now, package main and import what we need to. We only need the format package to learn pointers, and inside the func main, let's learn about pointers. So guys, let's create a variable like int with the value 15. So this is a variable that is created inside the memory with a value assigned to it as 15. So let's try to get the memory address of this variable. Let's name it. Let's try to name our variables in a proper manner. My number is equal to 15, and the memory address of my number is, this is how you get the memory address of my number. You need to use the ampersand character and then my number. So what this does is, guys, the ampersand character reads the memory address where 15 is located in, and it assigns the memory address to the variable memory address. So if I print like let's print d.println, we'll say the memory address of my number is memory address. So let's try this method. Let's try the file, go run pointers.go. So guess the output, guys. We're seeing, hooray, we know now that the memory address of 15 that we created as a variable in the start of the file is located in the memory address, which is a hexadecimal and this long address, right? Let's try to do some cool things with this. We can do something like this, guys. We can use our memory address to access the value like this. We can use the star character and then memory address, which we can set. So what we've done here, guys, is that we are reading the value at the memory address that we knew earlier using the star character. So we'll set the value at this particular memory address to be 20. So if I print the value of my number again, let's say the new value of my number is can you guess the output? So what we've done here is like we've assigned a variable with 15 and we are reading its memory address using the ampersand character, and then all of a sudden we are reading the value at the memory address using the star character and assigning it 20, and then we are printing my number again. So what should be the output, guys? See, I think it should not be 15 at all, right? Right, we've done it. We have used its memory address to change the value residing in that memory address. So we've created it to be 15, but at the end of the program it's assigned 20 even we did not access my number. We just access the memory address where my number is. So that's a very powerful thing, pointers in any language. So Golang offers you the privileges of using pointers in Go compilers. And let's move to the final section of our tutorial, guys. Let's create a web server. It sounds a bit scary, but it's not. We can easily create a web server with Go. We'll create a file and name it as webserver.go. Right. As always, we need to name our methods, name our package, and it is always being main, and then we need to import the modules. So as we are importing multiple packages inside, importing multiple libraries inside this file, I need to use parentheses, and then we need to call our packages one by one. It's a format library, and then I need to get the HTTP, and then we'll write our server. Inside the func main, I need to first attach the handlers. Handler is a function which consumes a request that is coming to a particular endpoint. So I'll write a handle func. This is the method that lets us attach a function to a endpoint. So the first endpoint that comes to my mind is the slash, right? When you are visiting a page, it's always the index page, which is commonly known to as slash. We'll call it slash, and then we need to pass the function to consume any request that is coming to the slash endpoint. So let's say it's the index handler. We'll name our function to be index handler, which is not defined as yet, but we need to as soon as possible. So let's create our func index handler, and here we need to pass two arguments. Those are the writer, which is the http dot response writer, which is used to write the response to, and then we need to get a request http dot request. Right, now we need to use our format package that we've imported and write something as the response of our request. Let's say we'll write we need to pass the writer that we've taken as an argument, and then we'll pass what we need as the response. Let's say hello Sysco LABS. Hello Sysco LABS, just as in other tutorials we have hello world, right? And then all we have done up to now, guys, is that we just have created an endpoint and attached the handler, but we have not yet started our server, so we need to right now. So we'll say http dot listen and serve, and then we need to pass the port that we need this server up and running. So it's 8000 is a famous port, so let's use that, and we need to pass a handler. We don't need a handler at the start of our server, so we'll pass nil. So as we have null in other languages, we have nil, which says that we pass nothing at all. So we need to catch the error which is drawn from this method. We'll use error variable, and then we'll say if error, we do not need to use parentheses, guys, even though I tried to. If error is not equal to nil, we can do a print statement as we do in our code always here in Sysco Labs. We say print ln and we'll print the error. So let's review the code that we've written. We've attached a handler at the slash endpoint, and we've passed the function, and what this function does is it takes response writer, which is a struct in Go, and then it takes a request which is passed to us, and it uses this writer to write hello Sysco Labs to the request, right? So we'll start our server, say go run webserver.go, and then we will try to access our endpoint localhost. We'll say slash, ta-da, we get our response that we've written to hello Sysco Labs it is. So guys, that's all I need to cover in this tutorial. I think you might have laid a strong foundation in learning Go. I think you have what it takes for you to consume online materials and maybe carry self-studies, so you can travel a long distance in the world of Golang. It's been used in many companies like Google, Uber, Twitch and Medium to cater their services. So here in Sysco Labs it will be available soon. So let's try to handle this bad boy and cater our customers. So it's good luck, guys, and it's Dileka signing off here.